There was a dizzying sequence early in the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship game. The New England Patriots, trailing by 10, executed a daring double lateral pass play, in which Tom Brady threw the ball to the receiver Danny Amendola on one sideline, who then threw it all the way across the field to the running back Dion Lewis on the other, who took off running upfield. But, just as Patriots fans were marveling at their team's ingenuity, the Jacksonville Jaguars linebacker Miles Jack tackled Lewis, knocked the ball out of his hands, snatched it up, and streaked freely down the sideline, on his way to what looked like a sure touchdown and a 27-10 Jaguars lead. But the referees blew the play dead at the moment of the fumble, either assuming that Lewis had been down by contact or that Jack was down after he recovered the ball. The Jags offense took over the ball at their 33-yard line instead. Still, they had a 10-point lead, and the Patriots' hopes for another playoff comeback looked slim. And then, to the continuing distress of so many, the Patriots did it again. There had been more riding on this game, for Patriots fans and foes alike, than deciding which team would play in the Super Bowl. Earlier this month, when much of the country was luxuriating in the lower details of Fire and Fury, Michael Wolff's insider exposé of the Trump White House, sports fans outside of New England were enjoying a similar, Foxborough-based tale of petty jealousy, organizational turmoil, and general dysfunction. ESPN published a story, based on interviews with an armful of unnamed sources, reporting that the three principal figures of the Patriots dynasty, the quarterback Tom Brady, the head coach Bill Belichick, and the team owner Robert Kraft, were engaged in a bitter power struggle, and that there was a palpable sense that the group would not stay together past this season. The three men issued a joint statement refuting the central thesis of the article, but, as with Wolff's book, many readers saw their private assumptions, if not most fervent hopes, confirmed. There were two issues at play: conflict between Belichick and Alex Guerrero, Brady's controversial personal diet and fitness guru, who had been barred from his semi-official role with the team, and anger from Belichick that he had been compelled, by Kraft, with unspoken pressure from Brady, to trade his backup quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, who was being groomed as the heir to the starting job when the 40-year-old Brady retired. This past Wednesday, during practice, Brady sustained a cut on his throwing hand after colliding with one of his running backs. 2 days later, he uncharacteristically wore gloves at practice, then wore the same pair to his appearance in front of reporters, during which he refused to answer questions about the injury. Sunday's game all of a sudden seemed to pose, for fans of the 31 other NFL teams, an ideal scenario for comeuppance. Brady, who, in his recent wellness book, writes blithely about injuries as something that happens to other, less prepared players, was hurt. And the Patriots, who had traded away their star understudy in favor of their aging star, now looked like they needed a backup after all. Instead, Brady, wearing a black bandage over what we at last learned were 12 stitches on his right hand, threw the ball with typical accuracy, completing 26 of 38 passes for 290 yards and 2 touchdowns. He made throws of various distances, and the ball spun in its usual tight spiral. He was the same guy, and these were still the Patriots. Even so, for the first 3 quarters, the Jaguars' top-ranked pass defense limited the Patriots to just 10 points, stopping them on key third downs while appearing faster and more ferocious than their offensive counterparts. In the case of Barry Church, who concussed the Pats' star tight end, Rob Gronkowski, with a helmet-to-helmet hit, too ferocious, Gronkowski did not play in the second half. On the other side, the Jaguars' maligned quarterback, Blake Bortles, who has, at times, looked plainly hapless, made the essential plays and threw no interceptions. Yet, in the small, deciding particulars, the Jaguars were fatally imprecise. In the final minutes of the first half, the offense committed a delay of game penalty following a timeout that stalled the drive and left the Patriots enough time to rush down the field for a touchdown, bringing them within 4 points, at 14-10, by the fourth quarter, when a long drive and even a field goal might have put the game out of reach. Bortles and the Jaguars stalled out, in a crucial sequence, with less than 6 minutes remaining. The Jaguars' offense kept the ball for less than a minute, punted it back poorly, and allowed a 20-yard return. The Patriots needed to move the ball just 30 yards to score the game-winning touchdown. It was the 54th time that Tom Brady had led a fourth-quarter comeback victory. Afterward, Some of the Jaguars players pointed out a discrepancy in penalties. Jacksonville was whistled 6 times for 98 yards, while the Patriots were only penalized once, hinting darkly at some kind of organized favoritism by the league. Fans on social media made a more explicit case, sharing videos that they were certain showed the referees actually celebrating with the Patriots. As with most things related to the NFL, a variation of Hanlon's razor, never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by incompetence, likely holds. Patriots fans are sure that the league is out to get them, which tells you all you need to know about sports fans and their grievances. There's plenty to dislike about the Patriots, as people remind each other annually at this point in the season. There is no joy in rooting for the team that the president cheers for, or would cheer for were he capable of delighting in the success of others. It requires one to remain in a constant state of cognitive dissonance, stacked on top of the pre-existing shame that comes from delighting in a sport that takes such a toll on its participants. There are other things that a Pats fan must put out of mind: alleged shady doings, Brady's recovery pajamas, John Bon Jovi cheering in the owner's box, and those adults in the end zone who dress up like Minutemen and fire off muskets when the team scores. Still, even the most fed up among the Patriots haters, and the more sheepish among their supporters, might consider conceding that Brady and company have brought something of value into their lives. The Patriots play in, and mostly win, astoundingly entertaining high-stakes games that come down to memorable plays in their final moments. A list of contests that spans the Tuck Rule game, a full 16 years ago, and the astounding comeback in last year's Super Bowl against the Falcons, with several agonizing and improbable Patriots lasses tossed in as well. And has any sports figure been less complicit in the grand mythologizing about his team than Bill Belichick? I mean, look, Tom did a great job, and he's a tough guy, he said after the game on Sunday, as reporters were gushing about Brady's bravery at playing with an injury. We all know that, alright? But we're not talking about open-heart surgery here. In 2 weeks, a weary nation will pin its hopes on another unlikely quarterback, Nick Foles, and his Philadelphia Eagles, who trounced the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game. Meanwhile, Patriots fans, many avidly, some with an apologetic shrug, will again be rooting for the bad